on the bottom side of the map, and then they can look for jungle on 3, or of course there are plenty of mid lane options up on the table as well, which I feel like in the case of JDG, Jace's Knight is pretty much synonymous with each other, so I'm not surprised that they go towards that, and they can still look towards their AD carry on 3.
Absolutely, it will be a denial here if Hope wants to go for it, but again, you'd have to kind of really either put that rel down that bot side or look to try and combo into something else. We'll see what WE want to try and work with. As they look for, it looks like no, they're just going to go with the 2 mounted riders here of WE, looking for the Sejuani and the rel. They're going to lock that one in, so that is a rel going into that bot side, and Shanks going straight back to the Azir. So comfortable on this, but it does indicate to me that WE are looking to go back towards, you know, they're tried and tested, or don't even go back towards it, but to kind of lean on it more frivolously of that. They want to go late game. They don't care about those early game skirmishes. They want to try and see what this game will look like at 25-30 minutes.
And it does make me kind of a bit concerned, right, for WE in that sense, because for JDG, again, they are, you know, let's not put words, they have at times very much been the best team fighting team in the world over the last year and a half plus. So I feel like this is definitely a pretty big gauntlet to throw down against JDG, where you're just going, hey, you know, Azir Sejuani mid-jungle, we're not going to do anything for the first 6 levels at least. Bottom side of the map, you've got this rel, you're going to have a couple of aggressive options definitely into Zyro-Khan, but they're going to be trimmed away, right? Things out of Hope's champion pool, but even then, Hope is more known for things like the Jinx, the Aphelios, right? He is the big hyper carry player on WE, so I feel like JDG are just going to remove those away and then kind of hamstring Hope from there. So again, I feel like JDG right now have plenty in the locker that they are yet to show. They've got jungle counterpick, and then they're going to have topside counterpick as well for R5 369, unless they really want Cassante. As WE, they're moving away junglers because they know that is absolutely the place where they want to try and trim Kanavi's ability to match up against them.
Wait and see where they want to try and bring this one here. I like the Maokai ban coming out from WE, get rid of some of those AP options. Of course, 369 has got a fairly decent champion pool for himself, so not going to be too worried about where his, you know, kind of maybe if they want to go AP, cook out the Kennen. Hasn't really been seeing much play on 13-12. And we'll wait to see where the next kind of position is here. Because WE, yes, they'll have themselves 2 picks in a row, but they're kind of, unfortunately, putting themselves in a bit of a hole because they're just not really able to kind of go for this. Love the Ivern ban, get this off of Kanavi. He's proven it time and time again that he is exceptionally comfortable on this particular pick. And we'll wait to see how JDG want to try and round out the comp. I imagine they'll pick up their jungler here and look to try and lock in the 369 counter pick on that last pick.
Yeah, I think it's just the most standard route to go, right? There's no reason to show your card super early. No way. I mean, they hovered it, right? WE hovered it on the other end. So are we really going to get a Lilia game? I mean, unless it's just another rehover. Jungle Pool's picked.
Yes!
It's going to be a Kanavi. Okay, Kanavi Lilia.
Okay, this could technically be a top lane Lilia as well. We'll have to wait and see.
Right. There is also the option for Lilia top. Fortunately, you have one of the best people you could have had by your side for this Lilia game, if it does end up in the top lane as well. It's Varus here for WE, and maybe Cube. Again, you know, you think about the Cassante, right? It's still up, it's available, and if this does go through, then anticipate that 369 will go towards the Renekton, and then that'll just be the very standard matchup that we see on this patch. But Lilia is super exciting, right? We haven't seen her in the meta for a little while. I don't feel like she's had any direct changes for a hot minute either. So this is just something that Kanavi has been cooking up and is ready to show here into WE. And again, we kind of mentioned the whole how angry are WE going to be, right? Or how angry are JDG rather going to be after the loss against IG. They're running on in the top lane for 369, a fresh and relatively untried jungle pick in Lilia on this patch. I feel like not only are they cooking up, but they're going to kind of come out and try their best to absolutely put out a statement game here in number 1.
Yeah, I mean, I believe this is the first Lilia in the 4 major regions. I could be wrong on that. I'm going to have a quick check on that. But I mean, it's such a kind of a side pick. It's definitely the first one we're having here in the LPL. No doubt about that in my mind. But great to see just how flexible JDG can be, and just Kanavi as well.
Yeah,
the thing is, we're going to be looking at it's like how quick this clear is. Again, we don't really see it that often, but the Lilia just burns through camps.
Yeah, so like again, when we had Kanavi bust out the rail, I believe I was with Mazel, and I was kind of commenting on how, for me, when I look at a team's development, especially when they're on the higher end of the spectrum, right, like JDG are, the way that you get in terms of their own personal development as a team, they are cooking, they're in the kitchen, and we'll see exactly what kind of gourmet meal Kanavi potentially has for us in this game. Number one, as despite the delay, as you can hear, those Jayos, pretty loud crowd in Beijing, ready and excited for this series.
I'm sure we'll get a stat at the bottom there to see how many days it's been since the last time we saw Lilia here in the LPL. But have a quick look at it. You want to go for the Conqueror as well, because the thing is with the Lilia, you get that extra movement speed off of your Q. You're constantly, and your passive, of course, you're constantly looking to try and, you know, build up towards the Lwandy's Torment and the Lwandy's Anguish and the Demonic Embrace. And that's kind of your whole thing. You want it in and out, constantly be moving in and weaving in a fight. So you get that Conqueror stack very, very quickly.
Yeah, so there's a lot of different options for Kanavi in terms of build paths, right? We've even seen more tankier variants of Lilia this year in comparison to previous years, where it was a lot closer to like kind of glass cannon, right? Sometimes we're even seeing almost like borderline drain tank builds with like Jack Show and Demonic Embrace, right? So I'm curious about where Kanavi's going to go, right? Because there's a lot of frontline dive on WE, so some kind of, you know, drain tank variant of Lilia could be pretty interesting to see here, but I expect, given that he's the sole AP damage dealer on the team, that he's more likely to dip a little bit heavier, like you mentioned, into Lwandy's, and then maybe even the Demonic Embrace. Typically, I will say, I don't like when ranged champions double up on the burn items. There's like 2 champions in the game, where I feel like it's fine. One's Bran, and then the other is actually Lilia, so we'll see if Kanavi does that.
Technically triples up because of his passive.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I can confirm on my little bit of research, is the first Lilia we are going to be seeing at all in professional stages of League of Legends, you know, from the top leagues, if that makes sense. So including LJL, PCS, VCS, all those CB LoL,
World's qualifying
everybody
regions,
just yes, World's qualifying regions. Thank you. This is the first one we are having in the summer split. So we'll see what the side of JDG can do. So I'm going to be keeping a very keen eye on where this Kanavi can go. And I like what Heng is trying to do right now and saying, look, if I could just figure out where this Lilia is going to go, I need to stop her from just getting a full clear going.
He is brutalizing this jungle clear, by the way. It's 240. He's on the blue buff already with 4 camps down. Heng's only cleared 3, and he's just made it to the blue buff for the invade. So it's definitely going to slow down what Kanavi's going for with this invade. He's going to find Heng here, but he's got no W, so this could be a bit awkward for the trade. He'll have first move from missing, though. This is the thing. Even though Heng is here on the invade, the first move, just because of the geography of the map, means that missing is a little bit faster to rotation. So pick up this Gromp. Can they re-engage is the big question. I feel like they have to just kind of go leave here.
I mean, the longer that fight goes on, the more you could see that Kanavi was just starting to ramp up with having that red buff, and of course the Q just constantly on people. That Conqueror can do exceptional work earlier on in the game. I mean, yeah, I mean, he's got missing in tow as well, but the flash, or that's me, the smite comes in. Kanavi's just doing really well at kiting these fights and making sure that nobody gets to have any kind of fun with him. Good stun here by Lwandy, but they're going to continue to push in on top of him and make sure he does not have any health bar to kind of contest this wave.
I'm really curious about how aggressive Kanavi wants to be, because he's actually gained a lot of passive information about Heng, his first clear, and where his jungle camp's going to be, because he should have seen, obviously, Heng did 3 camps and then came to his blue buff. Given the timing, he'll know that it's likely the bottom side camp, so he should still know that Heng is on the bottom side of the map. So don't be surprised if he does blue, maybe even a reset because of how long this time has been. Go up towards the Scuttle Crab and then invade the top side. He's got priority here from 369. Knight's just teleported back, and this wave should slow push back out. So if we're looking like 30, 40 seconds into the future, this is a pretty viable path for Kanavi to look into to see if he can actually steal away some jungle camps, get in the face of Heng, who could have an extended outing. He could also just Kanavi go and clear those 2 top camps and just get those cycles going ASAP and look for the CS for mid.
We'll wait to see. Obviously, a slow and steady game is what WE like to do, but against JDG, I don't know if that's the ideal scenario. You do have the Azir to kind of keep going on top of this as well. So the Halo Blades on top of Hope. Curious to see what build path he really wants to go for. Is missing an Lwandy. Exchange blows for the moment, and it's actually interesting as well. When the Kais kind of have a moment here, I don't really think there's going to be much action happening as both junglers kind of clear up their top side. Knight and Shanks just shading back in the mid lane. But for Ruler as a you know, an AD carry, it does feel like he is you know, very much finding his own flavors, if that makes sense. And the reason why I bring this up is that if the Kais is not available, which he has been exceptional on regardless, it does feel like he's very, very comfortable just going straight back onto that Xayah. He's been really favoring it so far on this patch, and it's honestly been fantastic for him to give him all those self-peel tools.
Yeah, I mean, he's using a skin, right? You know, there's a reason why he's so comfortable on it, Ruler. He's done the dance all the way through. Once upon a time, he wants to do it again with JDG, and like you say, yeah, looking just towards that comfortability. And I feel like if you ever do have a situation where your champion pool is being pinched, as it so often is when your name is Ruler, then why not, right? It's not like Xayah's out of the meta or anything, and he's a very, very proficient player right now. This is starting to set up really well for a Dragon takedown, and nice reset earlier on as well, I think, kind of signaled that. They got the one wave crash in, reset, that would force Shanks to then reset afterwards, most likely, unless there was a play for WE on the map. And then he would still, once he comes back, not have priority, and if that wave crashed, this is why JDG is starting out this Dragon. W technically have the room to contest.
Moving, though.
They have the room, but I mean, I feel like they lose this skirmish.
They have level 6 on the Shanks, so they would be relying very heavily on him to get a big shuffle, but they've gone off it, and that's a smite steal coming in. There's going to be the disengage off the side of this one here. Missing gets jumped on. Hope just kind of putting in the auto attacks as the Varus tries to put down some blighted quivers. Heal comes out there to make sure that Shanks doesn't go down. And WE just recognizing they're in a stronger position here to go for this fight, getting a lot of poke off, and the fact that Shanks drew so much pressure to him on that top side meant they could just go in, waltz in, take the Dragon.
Yeah, a little bit awkward for JDG. I think just the fact that they were really worried about Lwandy having a really big engage and then being followed up on kind of meant that they had to yield a little bit more ground than perhaps they were willing to. And Kanavi, very focused on trying to chunk out Shanks, meant that, yeah, we ended up in this pretty awkward scenario where they end up kind of just leashing Dragon for WE. So not the best in the world. Knight finding a trade. Shanks has 12 mana, but Knight has less health, so has to use the flash. Pretty nice from Shanks there.
I mean, Shanks is, again, just putting a little bit of respect on his name. He's an exceptional Azir player. Kanavi is going to try and go for this one here. Heng as well. They're both about the same HP, but difference is level 6 for the Sejuani, no level 6 for Kanavi, so no lilting lullabies, and this, you know, great to see that the Lilia is able to kind of come out into the wheelhouse, but if it doesn't work, if it's not as effective as you think it to be, that's when you start to have questions about whether or not the validity of the pick. So far, it's been pretty well kept. We do see a little bit of a stop of the back, I believe. I think it was the Varus looking to try and recall there. Immediate cleanse was burned by Ruler.
Yeah, that's how Ruler lost his cleanse. Okay. Pretty good there. But I do like what you're saying. I do agree. I feel like it's just that specifically the setup for some of these plays where Kanavi has been involved has just not necessarily been, you know, ideal, right? Dragon setup there, not necessarily the best for him to thrive, and then the fact that Heng picks up the Dragon also means that he obviously gets the XP from it, and then has him be at level 6. So it kind of just been this small cascading effect through and through. Maybe Kanavi can get down here, but I think the Herald is dead, yeah, so definitely wanted to try and look for it, but WE first to the punch right now. Maybe I'm going to try and find a bit of a cheeky invade here, or even just outright kill Kanavi as he looks for this camp.
Oh, from each side, you've got everybody kind of moving in. The lilting lullaby, but the crash down keeps him in place. Kanavi still no flash, but he's got decent damage and decent survivability. Now you've got the support coming in here from Missing and Knight. And everyone just kind of backs away. At the end of it all, it's actually just a flash burnt there by Heng. Not really coming out with the result that he wanted.
Yeah, not necessarily what he wanted, but you're seeing there as well a little bit of information with the Lilia, right? So obviously, oh, hello.
Good shuffle. Stops any kind of re-engage, and no quickness, so Missing couldn't get the charm out.
So one of the things that Lilia did actually have changed with her kit is the passive and the healing, specifically when dealing with champions, but also just a touch as well on the camp healing as well. Scales a lot better into sort of the mid game. So even in moments like that where Kanavi was hitting the camp but then also hitting two different champions at the same time, able to tank up a full combo from the Sejuani and Lwandy on the rail. So it's definitely, you know, an awkward champion where other champions you'd imagine in that position probably would have died and just got one shot. Lilia, not necessarily the same. Looks like she's going towards the Demonic Embrace, Kanavi. So it could be this more drain tank variant with Demonic Embrace into something like the Jack Show, but again, still have to wait and see. Zhonya's is also very crucial to Lilia's gameplay style of wanting to flash in, get that 5-man ultimate. If you've got the Jack Show build, then maybe you don't need the Zhonya's, you don't need that stasis, right? If you don't feel like you can get one shot. So curious about where this build is going to lead us, but for now it's WE who are kind of leading JDG around a few portions of the map on the plays. Finally Kanavi will get a Scuttle Crab, but that's also another cleanse bloating out from Ruler.
That's the big thing. You're thinking about the cleanse and how valuable it is for the side of Ruler. Yes, he has still got the Featherstorm and the Flash, but having the idea that the Chain of Corruption is going to be up much quicker, you still have the Glacial Prison to deal with and to kind of consider in a lot of these situations. So when your last line of defense is your ultimate, you can see Ruler just kind of being pinned back. Still up in CS, so let's not get it twisted. He's still doing very well, but I will say Hope has kind of been in this lane a little bit 1v2 for a lot of it, so not really surprising to see him take a little bit of a backseat when it comes to how this lane has honestly panned out.
Yeah, like you mentioned though with the cleanse, like that's the big issue. The art is supposed to be that last line of defense. You want to be able to use your ultimate to, you know, effectively really dish out a little bit of extra damage, right? As opposed to having to use it to dodge out on an ultimate or something like that. It's a little more ideal to get it out for that damage, but of course with the cleanse you have a little more freedom, so not having it is a big benefit for WE. I think because of the resets, Ruler is really being harassed here. We could just see this dragon go over pretty much uncontested because Ruler's not been able to get it back in.
And this is fantastic for WE, picking up dragons, slowly getting themselves up to relevance. This is significant, but 369 wants to change that at the start of this one here. There's still teleport onto Cube. Will he be able to get here in time? That is the question. They're resetting off this a little bit too late. Now they're going to look for the dragon to be taken. It is secure. There's a Magnet Storm there onto 4 as Shanks tries to make his move down here as well. Teleport right down into the middle of things. Cube just to try and maybe dissuade everybody else. Lwandy will be sacrificed, you would imagine. They might have to commit a flash. They do. Finally, First Blood comes in at 12 minutes into the game. But JDG, they wanted so much more, and they only get themselves 1 kill after that. They're going to have to pick up a couple of plates to make this more worth.
Yeah, definitely. A couple of plates will ease the pain of losing that dragon and using so many resources to not really pick up too much. Herald's going to be dropped here in mid lane, though, to trade. So this will be very close to 3 plates. Should just be 2. But not necessarily the best for JDG, all things considered, losing out on the dragon. What I will say though, alright, I'll play half glass half full here. It's a Cloud Soul, Cloud Rift,
yep.
And we've got a lot of champions who like to move quickly in this game, so I'm actually kind of excited for it. You know, I was the big Cloud, Dragon, and Soul shill guy last year, and I still am, but this time around you've got Lilia and Rakan. If you can get a couple of those Cloud Dragons stacking now as JDG, you feel really good. As take a look at the replay, and again, the resets were a little bit late from JDG. They did still want to contest in the sense of a fight by Lwandy's counter engage, whilst 369 was looking for a combo to Heng. Kind of just means that the focus is kind of solely taken away from any follow-up on the mid or the jungle of WE, and they have to just look for the slow rundown onto Lwandy, which they do eventually find, and Kanavi picks up that first blood.
So blew the flash from 369 as well. Cube TP down, but was only just to kind of deter any kind of re-engage. We come back in. It is a static Shiv coming out here for Hope, so it looks like it is going to be that more AP variant as we move into the later stage in the game. And that's where the game gets a little bit harder. You're looking at an Azir and a Varus with this extra wave clear kind of up on top of it. How do you really get in onto these towers? Your sieging power is very nullified here on the side of JDG when you actually look at how short ranged everybody is on their composition.
Yeah, it's just Knight, right, working with those Shock Blast. He's the only one with a significant amount of range, so once he hits that 2 iron mark, they're really going to have to use their tools efficiently, right? Maybe like using things like the Ornn ultimate to kind of force WE back if you're trying to siege on a tower and then trying very quickly burst it down. Things of that nature, but it's not really the best way that you necessarily want to have to use your Ornn ultimate, so hold on to that one. We'll have to see. WE, they're starting up the Herald. They've got mid lane priority. They don't necessarily have top side priority though, so maybe Knight can send in some Shock Blast, but look, Kanavi's pathing bot. I don't think JDG want anything to do with this Herald. And they'll at best just cross-map this tower on the bottom side of the map. WE winning out on the objective game right now. JDG don't have an answer to it.
And the first one was, ooh, Chain of Corruption goes wide, but the first dragon was just WE contesting and saying, look, we're stronger, we know we can go for this one here. They're going to see the Rift Herald being dropped in this mid lane. Actually not even going to need it, so a little bit quick on the trigger there, I feel like, Heng, as he gets knocked up by missing. Now they're going to be able to take it. That's a little bit of a waste, if I'm being totally honest. They could have moved that up top side and get that turret down a little bit quicker, but for the moment, it is a pretty even game. Couple of 100 gold lead here for JDG, mainly off of Ruler's CS lead, you would imagine, and that one kill. So for the moment, it's definitely looking like a good start here for WE, but JDG are starting to ramp up this. We saw this in the IG series where JDG start to feel like doesn't matter how the first 15-20 minutes of the game go, they will be able to just capitalize in those mid-game skirmishes. So WE got to keep their wits about them.
Yeah, they do. They can't fall prey, as so many teams have before them, to the mid-games of JDG and how strong they can be. I mean, hey, look. Back at MSI, sometimes I feel like many of us, analysts and pundits, etc., were watching some of those games and thinking, look, JDG looked beatable throughout a lot of the tournament. Their team fighting was, of course, very superb, but there were cracks in the armor, which could have been exploited, but very much weren't. And we'll see whether or not this is a vulnerable moment or game for JDG, right? They are very much, you know, I'll say, even though they're up a couple hundred gold, this game state is still pretty much even, right? Everyone's scaling up, everyone's at one item, and most of these champions here hard spike on 2, so for JDG, they can leave this next dragon, you know? Much like Game 3, or Game 2 rather, in the IG series, where JDG didn't have to contest the dragon, and Kanavi checked into the river, like he did just then, and died. We'll see whether or not they fall into the same pattern or not. There is one thing I would like to highlight, it's that Heng doesn't have the fully upgraded, oh no, it just upgraded off Kim and Skull, so I'll take that back. Ooh, got a treat, so close, I was gonna say, was almost going to be working with the 900 smite compared to Kanavi's 1200. Won't be the case, as now both teams jostling for priority here, but it's WE that are in the river first. And as JDG, you don't mind because you can engage, but you have to pick your target and you have to execute them immediately.
Hope gets hit by an accelerated shock blast, so he's already peppering down a little bit of damage. Doesn't want to be tanking up too much of this Cloud Dragon. So we see Lwandy looking for a bit of an engage himself. Heng is not on the dragon himself, so he's looking to try and maybe catch somebody out. Crash down over the wall as Lwandy wants to keep himself safe. Here we go. The Ornhorn comes out to try and set this whole thing up, but he gets stopped immediately. Now missing. Tries to go in for a bit of an engage, but he gets shuffled apart. And Lwandy kills off the JDG support. 3-man route after the fact, but good flashes away there. But inside of WE, they recognized there was a lilting lullaby, and they did not want to go to sleep.
Yeah.
Dragon still about 3,000 HP. These health bars are low. You feel like with the poke coming in, gonna try and steal this one away. There's gonna be a great steal for JDG. Now can they go for the fight afterwards? The all-out comes in right onto Knight, but can Cube get out of his life? He cannot. Flash in, knock up. 369 trying to go hero mode, but he's not quite able to do it and will fall down. Not quite able to finish off any more of this. There's going to be the Shurima's Legacy coming in. This is risky for Kanavi, but he gets the smite down. Oh, that Magnet Storm was just a little bit too late. And JDG get themselves a dragon, and they get themselves 4 kills.
Yeah, a little bit awkward from 369 on the flash on the back end, but the rest of the team eventually follows through and they pick up more kills. They get the dragon as well. Huge swing for JDG. Because we were starting to worry a little bit, right? The trends had been WE picking up all these objectives, and the start of that fight didn't look great from missing either, right? A bit of a botched engage on top of 369's ultimate, which wasn't actually able to be recast from a great glacial prison. Yeah, like, he gets one shot, he gets 2 ultimates chucked on top of him and a knockback. This Liverpool. Actually, the threat of Kanavi flash queuing there is why the members of WE flashed back, so it might look a bit silly, but trust me, if Kanavi connected on that, it would have been lights out, no pun intended. It would have been put to sleep, and WE, a little bit too scattered. Cube, unfortunately, not able to flash out and find his way out. Again, 369's engage here. You know, it wasn't necessarily the worst, but no one on JDG's side besides Kanavi could follow through, and thankfully he did, as on back end he helps clean up some of these kills.
We'll wait to see how much this is going to affect the gold. Yeah, 2,000 here for JDG and the Dragon as well to stop that stacking. So nicely done there by them. And you got to start to see the power of this Lilia coming into those long extended team fights where she's coming in with the Qs and just constantly getting blooming blows out. So curious to see where this, you know, kind of build goes. As you said, it could be a bit of a drain tank. Looks like he's going back towards some more AP. So happy with the green smite and the little bit of demonic embrace for a little bit of HP. But after that, looks like he's going to be going towards, never mind, not looking like, definitively going towards a bit more of a full AP.
Yeah, don't mind it either, right? I mean, like, again, you know, obviously Ornn's dealing a lot of magic damage, and, you know, we know the memes. He's the bruiser, tank, assassin, mage, you know.
What is with top laners and getting completely overloaded with their kit?
So,
Cassante,
I mean,
Ornn.
hold on. Everyone knows that top lane is the most useless role in League of Legends. And that's just fact. That's just fact. That is just fact. Until Riot find a way to give it more agency as an individual, the only way they can compensate is by giving them broken champions. And let's be real, when you actually think about it, the top lane pool is filled with ridiculous champions that can take over games. They're just not played for. You know, like, that's kind of just how it is. You can't tell me I'm wrong. I know I'm right, Asheen.
Yeah.
You can't contest
I mean, I'm not trying to contest you. I'm not trying to change anything about this. I just think that it's you know, it's a little harsh sometimes, you know, when Olaf was in the meta for a bit.
Look, you know, funnily enough, I think the time when this was spoken the truth the most was actually, I think, Adam in Spring, not in Spring Split. Yeah, in Spring Split, last split. When, you know, he had that Scion game, you know, the what is now dubbed the BDS strat as, okay, I think he's going to go in and miss. But, you know, we've seen those kind of Scion invades before, just not to that level, right?
Yeah.
And he felt like 5 levels behind and still won the game. And then he brought him on for the interview and he's just like, yeah, you know, top lane is a useless role. And we leave it at that. Because it can be in competitive, right? So anyway, that aside, give top lane more agency. Stop making the champions broken and obnoxious. Give the role a little more, you know, something to do, you know? Anyway, zooming back into the game. We run it for 4 minutes, and there's another dragon spawning. So we'll see how JDG feel about contesting this, because across the board, they're pretty much at 2 items. It's just Kanavi fishing for that Lwandy, and he's probably going to be quite close. Maybe a bit worried about a Baron startup, because there's a pretty big lack of vision, and to be fair, it has been started by WE, and there's a deep teleport from 369.
Yeah, they're going to be right in behind everybody. Imagine there's going to be flashes burnt here. They throw out the Glacial Prison, but the Shurima Shuffle is good to try and stop them from getting in on top of this one here. Lilting Lullaby hasn't been picked off just yet. Now a TP coming in from Cube. There's a lot of ultimates have been burned, a lot of flashes as well. Hope had to use all his summoners and the Chain of Corruption just to make sure he did not go down.
Yeah, exactly. A lot burned, so Hope is going to be super vulnerable, and I'll tell you firsthand, as we don't typically see enough Ornn, in my opinion, in this meta. Immobile AD carry, and there's an Ornn in the game, that guy's dying next team fight. I'll tell you for free. Just about how WE can actually defend.
Only if you have the Onort, though. I mean...
yeah, that's what I mean. Like, look, you send that Onort over the top, missing finds his mark. That's all that has to happen. Then all of a sudden, there's a deer on top of you.
Cube doesn't care.
No, he doesn't.
Cube wants to jump on a 369 there. They're keeping him in check completely. Oh. He's taken out, burned out, and ready to go. The Magnet Storm forces Ruler to go into the Feather Storm. Lwandy may have sacrificed his life, but is it worth it? Missing just about gets out, but Ruler is not that lucky. Hope picking up that kill, and all of a sudden, WE may look for this Baron again.
This is all just started because they were jostling for vision in that brush. Now with 369 dead, there's no core engage, and with Ruler dead, there's no DPS from JDG. Oh, he sniped him!
Sniped him! Knight gets a huge kill there, but Kanavi was nowhere near this one here. They're going to have to give it up. And that's going to be Baron confirmed here for WE, but they trade 2 kills for the Baron. That is 100% worth.
Absolutely, and again, the questions start to loom for JDG. Is this a trip or is it a fumble? Knight.
Oh, the shuffle and the kill. Now it's a 2v2, but you do not really have the DPS to go in for this one. Missing, trying to run away. If he goes down, they would have no way to contest this dragon. You have no real engage after that fact. So now we come back into a WE. They're keeping it fast and loose, and they are keeping JDG on the back foot.
Yes, they are. I mean, JDG have Knight with a teleport in 30 seconds time. They started out the dragon, I think, just for the sake of maybe considering it. 369 tier of Ulma again. Hope no flash, but he's coming out from base, so he's not going to be the immediate core target. JDG feel about actually looking at this dragon here? Do they feel like they can buy enough time? They can send an Ornn over the top right now through all those members.
For it. No Lilting Lullaby, so they wouldn't be able to follow up immediately with a quickness. Just come off of cooldown. Kanavi looking for a bit of a flank, but now he's away from the dragon. Does he want to try and fight this one here? They don't burn it down just yet. TP coming in. That's going to be Knight jumping back in on top of this one as a 4v5. Looking for it, 5v5. Dragon's still at 4,000 HP. They're trying to burn some people down. Lwandy finds missing, so there will be no flank from JDG on the backside of this one here. They're still toying with this idea. Good healing coming out here from both sides to make sure they're not taking too much poke damage. But here we go. Horn in. Soul point confirmed by WE. Hope goes into stasis to make sure he does not get knocked up. Gets hit by the Swirl Sweet and immediately goes into sleep stasis. But they had a Mikhail's Blessing onto Heng. He pops that one immediately and keeps his AD carry up and ticking. WE get themselves out with the Dragon Soul point, and they are able to keep everybody alive.
God, what a strange sequence of play. WE got the Baron so long ago that it's only got 60 seconds left on it. This all bled into that Dragon back to back. Where is this replay even going to stay? Okay, right. So, I mean, again, kind of just, they walk into each other. They're just trying to find a little bit of extra vision, JDG that is. And Cube to look back. That gives Heng the ability to find, to stun, and he gets taken out by Hope's arrow. This engage here from Lwandy is huge because it forces out the Featherstorm, and then the Q flash from Cube. It's perfectly timed. The Ruler doesn't really have an opportunity to do anything at that point, and even if he could, he certainly would have died as quickly as he hit the ground.
This is blind.
Yeah, this is blind. Wow. And it just threads the needle. That's one of those moments where you, like, you're playing AD carry, you let out a sigh after that death. You're like,
yeah, like, what could he have done differently? Off of vision, back of the pit, like nowhere near what you would assume is the distance, but you just get hit by that sometimes. It happens.
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
It does. It does. WE, they're finding a couple more towers as well off the back of this Baron. This feels pretty good. And they can even get this tier 2 as JDG are a little bit slow to react. So, honestly, WE doing a great job. And we posed the question, how do you really feel about picking a slow scaling composition into JDG? The answer right now is looking pretty positive.
Very positive for the moment, as my voice takes a little bit of a crack. Wait to see. There is a 70 CS lead here for Ruler over Hope at the moment, and there is a pretty small gold lead for WE as we do come up past the 27-minute mark. It's 3 Dragons to 1. Maybe 1,500 gold lead in favor of WE over JDG for the moment. But the big thing is that the plays are being more... they're going to look for... just a little too late to pull that trigger. But I mean, with these resets coming in and with everyone kind of away from this mid lane, this could just be a tower in that mid lane. Tier 2 gone. Yeah, it's dead. Oh, Hope, though.
Engage.
Yes, it engaged. Chain of Corruption does come down. That tower gets taken, but will they be able to get out alive afterwards? Cube is going to be hit up here by plenty of damage here by the Lilia. Kanavi hasn't finished off the job, and he's still on a Cassante. You have to finish him off when you can. Finally, they turn everybody towards him around that red buff, and they will confirm the kill. But WE did get their tower. They got their prize. They won't be unhappy with the trade. Just wish it was a little cleaner.
Yeah, exactly. Just wish it was a bit cleaner. JDG still hold on though. Dragon and the Baron. A little bit off sync, but effectively spawning in 2 minutes time. Those will be the next big objectives. Shanks and Hope both just picked up Zhonya's. Those are huge for dealing with these engaged tools of JDG as Glacial Prison flies wide. This ultimate stopped here by a really nice path maker from Cube. Really well timed. Does give over his life for it in the extended, but the re-engage could have been so huge for JDG if that ram gets sent flying through the entirety of WE. So after he does die, he sacrifices himself, honestly, for a pretty good cause, because I think JDG could have rolled over that team fight with the settings that they had. As, oh boy, 369. Where have we seen this before, Oisin?
Yeah. He has been, this is a little bit of deja vu. JDG not really looking that great right now. And this would be 2 series in a row that they are starting to feel a little bit more vulnerable, a little bit of a, kind of weaknesses in the armor. Not exactly an exceptional performance here. And again, WE very cleverly just kind of constantly catching them out.
So Oisin, I've been grazed a really long time during last split in summer, last year rather. Yep. And I was led to believe that, JDG are known for a little thing where, sometimes they don't perform like how we know that the JDG lineup can perform. And I'm starting to wonder if this is that curse, because this is not the best look right now for JDG, and I am a little bit concerned, to say the very least. We are only in game 1 of this series, and there could be an additional 2 to go. Or maybe 1. This game's not necessarily decided yet. WE certainly in in a really good position. They denied so much vision that JDG really don't have much idea of what's going on. Kanavi, I'm surprised they did not pull the trigger on him, but they know he's got stopwatch. He can't really be one shot straight up. Very difficult still. But it's tense. It's really tense.
They're missing
on
a great flank, and they're going to look for him without him, though, so they're going to look for a 5v4 for the moment. Shanks goes into stasis as Kanavi uses his stopwatch as well. Here we go. They're going to try and jump on top of him, but he gets his Emperor's Divide out. It's a great flight for JDG. As they now can jump onto Lwandy. He flashes away, but I don't think he's getting out of this one alive. He will be falling down to scout. Kanavi picked up a kill there as well. Hope is kind of caught between no man's land. Does not get knocked up here, so should be able to walk away. I say that they are kind of chasing him down. Another accelerated shock blast.
Oh my God.
And another attack you cannot flash away from JDG. We're hearing us chatting some smack, and they were saying, all right, time to turn on the afterburners. We're getting ourselves this game.
Yes, exactly.
They could end.
They could end. There is a real world where they just turn this into a game win. Death time is a super long. Ashin, I think your call's right. I think they're ending this game.
I mean, you double AD
WE.
carry effectively. WE, I think Heng tried to go towards that dragon to try and see if he could get himself a soul point or up the soul, but yeah, now it's just down to Lwandy. Only a couple more seconds until Shanks, but I don't think Lwandy's going to be able to do anything about this, and you blink and you'll miss it. JDG gonna end this game. It looks so promising for WE. JDG just saying, nah, not today, so we let IG have that. We're not letting you.
Wow, that is brutal from the side of JDG. I mean, they weren't in control of that game for pretty much all of it. There was very